Well, thanks for staying with us. Time for us to dive into that interview with Peter Brooks, who is in charge of the digital card business at Kenya Commercial Bank. Thanks for making time for us.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. We've seen a lot of emphasis that various banks are trying to reach to the SMEs. KCB is one of the banks that is running a very interesting program, that is the KCB Jaza Duka campaign. Tell us more about this and what is the anticipated impact, especially to giving SMEs liquidity?
Thank you, Abby. Jaza Duka is essentially a partnership between three huge partners, which is KCB, MasterCard, and Unilever, who took advantage of the value chain proposition in the ground to create a product based on data. You know, a lot of these people who we call retailers or the duka owners do not have access to quick credit because they do not have bank records or any other reason. So luckily Unilever has a lot of data on how their purchase history has been. And we said we'll leverage on this to be able to use the data that we've been provided to by Unilever to create a credit score and say that based on your purchases for the last 6 months, we can be able to allocate you a credit that will be in a virtual card, sort of. And then we have linked with the Unilever system where you can be able to now make orders on credit for 14 days interest-free. So we give you, for example, if you've been purchasing 10,000 shillings every month, we'll give you a credit limit just to boost your purchase power and to be able to enable you to fill up your shop. So that's the name, Jaza Duka.
So what informed this idea for you guys to get into this niche market, knowing very well that SMEs are very risky, especially when it comes to repayment?
You see, if you look at most of the dukas, like the one that if you at your local home, there's a shop that you've always has always been there.
They call them the kiosks.
The kiosks. They've been there for a long time. And you've been growing up. These shops are just right next to the house, and they have been advancing credit to the end consumer, and you get to write on a book your debt, and then you come and pay it later. So essentially the product we've created is more risk-free. There's no risk of default.
All right. Because
how we've created it is that I give you 10,000 shillings, I tell you, buy goods from Unilever, and then sell it within a period of 14 days. And then once you've sold it, give KCB back the initial capital that they put in you, and then keep your profit.
All right.
So essentially there's no need for the retailer to default because it is free credit, just to boost and enable his stock to be up to date. Yes.
So Brooks, has there been growth in this particular initiative, and what do you see at the end of the tunnel?
There's been a lot of growth. So far we've disbursed more than 400 million in a revolving basis. Every day these guys are using this money to buy their stocks, and we have so far signed up close to 18,000 retailers all over Kenya, and we are expecting to get to around 30,000 by the end of the year. And we've seen that the usage keeps increasing, and a lot of testimonials from the retailers themselves say that there's been growth. Either they're able to pay school fees because of the increased sales that they have. You know, if you have a shop that is fully stocked, you'll be able to address one person and do not have to jump from shop to look for goods. So they have been empowered to have more stock and therefore make more money out of this. And with that, they're able to pay school fees, to meet their local domestic needs and all that. And some of them have even actually graduated from being a small shop into being a smaller supermarket and a supermarket. So there's a lot of growth that we've seen, and we've had a lot of testimonials.
All right. All right. And finally, Peter, so what is in it for you, especially when you look at, you're talking about 400 million shillings revolving fund, and how much is KCB looking to grow this fund by? Yes. And of course, what are the immediate risks, especially when you look at e-commerce and people buying stuff online, getting deliveries at home, as well as malls coming up? Does this pose a threat to you guys?
It doesn't necessarily cause a threat because the dukas will always be there.
Okay.
And there are those items that you will want to buy from your local duka. And so for us, our interest is, number one, for financial inclusion. We want to get the unbanked people into the system. And in this way, we are being able to educate them. We have a few courses through MasterCard Center of Inclusive Growth. We are training them both physically and digitally to be able to become better traders. And for us, we want to grow with these people. So when we introduce them to the financial system, they start growing, developing a history with the bank. With this history, they can be able to borrow from anywhere because at least they have a record that they can show. I've been borrowing for the last 1 year.
All right.
This is my record, and I therefore can be able to get credit.
Great initiative, banking the unbanked.
Yes.
And formalizing Kenya's segmented retail sector.
Exactly.
All right, Peter Brooks, thanks for being with us on the program. And of course, a very interesting initiative there when you look at what technology can do, as well as financial